Alright, hello and welcome to the latest edition of Into the Other Side Paranormal Talk Radio. Tonight, again, it's just me, David Willever. We greatly apologize again. We were supposed to do a new show yesterday evening. We could not accomplish that. Jason had some things he had to take care of. Jason also had some things he needed to take care of tonight, so I just decided to do something just a little bit odd, a little bit different tonight. Hopefully Jason and I this upcoming week can get together and actually have a new show with new topics for you guys ready to go. We will probably come back with just a mix of random topics show and then go on from there. To round out the rest of the year, really, the list so far, we've got a topic dealing with like crypto creatures again. We had some people bring up the Michigan Dog Man, so we're going to dive into that a little bit. Oak Island international haunts, which we could really dive into for you guys. I think that'll be neat. Voodoo, skinwalkers, a Black Eyed Kids revisit. We are probably going to hold off on the Black Eyed Kids revisit until later in the fall. Probably around Halloween. Animals in the paranormal, that was brought up again recently, and it's been brought up before. We are going to look into that pretty heavily. And then the dangers of paranormal investigating, which will be another kind of theory almost show, theory opinion, and probably some articles that we find about it. But tonight, pretty much, I found a couple interesting interviews that I'm just going to play for you guys. Since I don't really have a lot going on that I need to get out. We've already discussed that last week, or earlier this week when I put out a little bit of an update. Tonight, I found a couple interesting interviews from Seekers of the Supernatural. And it is featuring Ed and Lorraine Warren, who most of you are probably familiar with if you're interested in the paranormal whatsoever. The Warrens are, I won't call them the originators, but they're a pretty famous couple when it comes to the paranormal. The first topic you'll hear them speak about is what to do when you see a ghost. And the second topic, we'll take a break, and then the second topic will be the after effects of seeing a ghost. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and do that for you guys, and we will be good to go from there. Stay tuned for just a couple minutes here, and I will get that playing for you right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tony Spera. Welcome to another edition of Seekers of the Supernatural with your hosts, Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a very fascinating case to start. The case of Florence Viner, who lived in a haunted house and had some terrible incidences happen. Questions have been asked of us, of Ed and Lorraine. What do you do when you see a ghost? What do you do if you see a ghost? Those questions and many others will be answered for you tonight. I'd like to start with Mr. Warren, if I could. Ed, I know you're going to talk about the Viner case, but can you tell us what would someone do if they encountered a ghost?
Well, Tony, it all depends on the circumstances, the situation, the whole thing. If you're in a car like Rod Vesey was, driving along at 1:30 in the morning and a ghost suddenly appears alongside you in the car, what can you do? You know, and it comes so fast, and then the apparition disappears quickly. So by the time that you're trying to figure out what you should do, it's already gone, you know. Mm-hmm. And some people, of course, would just be very startled. But if you're, say, a Christian, you're lying in bed, and something wakes you up, and you look out into the darkness, and you see a ghostly figure there, a woman, a man, whatever it might be, you simply make the sign of the cross in the direction that you're looking at it, and you would say, in the name of God, is there something that I can help you with? You shouldn't really hold a lot of communication with spirits. But in some cases, you're dealing with earthbound spirits, people who are very confused when they died. They don't understand why they're not in that physical body anymore. and they're drawn to the aura of a very sensitive person. And during the sleeping state, as you wake up, you are in a good situation where a spirit can reach you. Because you're on the same astral level. So I would suggest that you simply say, in the name of God, is there something that I can do to help you? If it's an evil spirit, it will disappear immediately. If it's a positive one, say it's a relative or some spirit that's just been drawn to you, then you might get some communication. I know there's been people that have seen spirits of children, of adults, and they get very frightened, and they'll jump up and run out of the room. Well, that's natural reaction for most people. But actually, what you should do is to find out what it is, what they want. It's kind of like this woman over in Torrington. It was her own husband that would show up. And she woke up one night soon after he died, about 6 months later, which I think was beautiful, but it scared her. And he would be sitting right in the chair, just like you're sitting there. And he would say, "Are you all right, dear?" And she got so frightened, she jumped out of bed and ran out of the house and wouldn't come back for a few days. And then the same thing happened when she went back in again. She jumped out of bed and ran back, out of the house again. So the third time, her daughter said, "Mom, why don't you just ask Dad what he wants or tell him that you are perfectly all right?" Which she did, and she seen him get up. He was sitting in a chair. He got up, walked down the hallway, and she never seen him again. But he was disturbed by the fact that something was bothering the wife, which of course it would be. He was trying to put her mind at ease. Say, for instance, you encounter a spirit in a haunted house.
Right.
And it's one that's a very negative spirit. In that case, you're not going to hang around and ask what it wants, because you're going to be frightened out of your wits. So in them kind of cases, I simply say, get out of the house yourself, leave, There are spirits that can do great physical harm to people. In tonight's presentation, we're going to be talking about a house in Woodstock, Connecticut, which is almost on the Massachusetts border. Very interesting case. Mrs. Florence Viner, who was, I think she was Miss Connecticut or Miss...
She was Miss Connecticut
one time. Very pretty looking lady. And she got married to an older man. They bought this old inn, an old Revolutionary inn it was, not realizing it, that it was very haunted. And soon after they moved in, they had the farm hands, some of them who would live upstairs in this home. And the farm hands would go to bed with knives under their pillows. One of them even had a gun, and they said, "Well, why do you have knives? Why do you have guns?" And they said, "Well, we're frightened to stay up there, Mrs. Viner." She said, "Frightened of what?" They told her that, the doors would open and close, the beds would shake, they were scared, they would hear somebody running up the stairs. They would hear what sounded like a fight between two men going on. They would hear the clash of swords, and this would really frighten them. So one night she was home alone, and her husband didn't come home yet. She was waiting for him to come home. And all of a sudden she heard something open the door, pounding on the door, open the door, footsteps ran up these stairs. Then she heard what sounded like a fight between two men and then two thumps. Well, she said that, she was so frightened, she went in and she got her .22 revolver.
Jeez.
She went upstairs, but she couldn't find anything. Came down again, and then she told about other incidents occurring where she would be lying in bed, and suddenly she would hear this loud roaring sound. She said it sounded almost like a foundry. And her husband wouldn't hear a thing. He would be almost like in a state of phantomania, paralyzation. She couldn't even wake him up. Then she would see this here glow, and it would form into a ball, electromagnetic ghost ball, and then it would go into a cigar shape, and she'd see this dark form moving all around the room, shadow ghost.
But I think it's important, Tony, to realize, or for our viewers to realize, like Ed just gave reference to her husband and how he was affected. That is very, very common. The majority of the cases that are brought to our attention, they will tell us the woman of the house. Remember that women are more sensitive, so women
Lorraine, I have to
perceive
correct you.
things.
They're not patients, they're clients. If they were patients, they'd be in a institution.
What patients?
You said patients, didn't you?
No. I said,
All right, that was the first one. It's just a little snippet, really. Gonna take a break real quick, and then we'll be right back. It'll be a little over a minute, and we'll play the next bit of an interview. Stay tuned. You're listening to Into the Other Side Paranormal Talk Radio.
Do you believe in time travel?
Whatever I please.
What if I told you I found a way to reach back into the past?
I got an idea.
Our world consists of countless portals that allow us to bridge time and space, each a doorway to a unique past. Loyalty is the only code, so I assembled my inner circle to join me. Chris Musgrove.
Do it again.
Ashley Leckie.
Guys, are you kidding me?
And Rebecca Kirschbaum.
You can't make deals with things that aren't human.
Using a device we call Pandora, it will be our compass as we travel back to the past by creating ripples in time.
Look out, though.
It's time to see what the history books got right. This is Resident Undead.
Hey everyone, it's David from Soapy Inc. and Into the Other Side Paranormal Talk Radio, and I'm here to tell you about an awesome program from iHeartRadio called Show Your Stripes. What's Show Your Stripes? It's a program geared towards spreading awareness around the issue of returning veterans who are unemployed, and it encourages businesses to hire these highly trained and skilled individuals who deserve a shot at a normal life. Where can you find out more about this? Simply by going to iHeartRadio.com/showyourstripes or showyourstripes.org to find valuable resources from the most trusted sources and a customized user experience for veterans, businesses, and supporters. If you are or know of a veteran in need of employment or would like to know what you can do to support the cause, I urge you to check out showyourstripes.org for more information. Hire smart, hire vets. Powered by military.com and monster.com. Alrighty, that was our little bit of a break there. I'm going to return you guys right back to another snippet of an interview, and then we are going to call it a night. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Into the Other Side Paranormal Talk Radio, and tonight we are listening into a couple interview snippets from Seekers of the Supernatural featuring Ed and Lorraine Warren. This next one is going to be After Effects of Seeing a Ghost.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seekers of the Supernatural. I'm your moderator, Tony Sparrow, along with hosts Lorraine Warren and Ed Warren, and a special guest tonight, Mr. Rod Vesey. Rod, as you might recall on a previous show, had seen a ghost. Actually, he had seen two ghosts, right down on Route 59, passing Union Graveyard. And Rod did go into a little bit of discussion about that. But what we did and felt we'd do tonight was talk about the aftermath of seeing a ghost, how it affects one's life. And what I'd like to do is start out with Rod, if I could, and just ask Rod his thoughts, his feelings of the aftermath. And perhaps, Rod, you could preface it by that, again, with that sighting that you initially saw perhaps 7 years ago.
Well, it was... what I came to find out was the White Lady, what's called the White Lady now in Monroe, or of Easton. As you know, I was driving down, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and happened to see one figure to my right in my car, and then immediately after that, which lasted a second, in front of me I saw a figure of a woman, which passed through my car, and then continuing on, my side of the road turned a red color, and continuing on a little farther, everything disappeared.
How did you feel that night and like just right after that? How did you feel about that?